All right, listen. Warner Brothers, the record label.
Amongst other things.
Yes.
Conglomerate.
It's been reported that they have sold their shares in Spotify for reportedly $500 million. When that report came out, it also said that artists received $0. So I'm a 10th grade dropout. I'm bad at math, but I'm following this shit. $500 million minus $0 is still $500 million. So that article came out. People were in an uproar. When people are in an uproar, you normally see things happen. So the next article came out and said, Warner Bros. Sells whatever stock, $500 million, and they have set aside $125 million for artists.
If they've recouped.
If they have recouped. All of this is disturbing to me. So let's try to have a nice, serious 10 to 15 minutes, right? And let's try to use our imaginations, right? And let's try to imagine a world where your favorite rappers had no problems with each other at all. No problems, no beef. Let's pretend we're all in the same gang. Because I mean, when I hear reports like this, I try to figure out what is stopping the artists from banding together and actually doing something about this. I'm having a hard time figuring out why that's not happening. I would be having a heart attack if that report came out and I were an act affiliated with Warner Brothers. That would be really, 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 really disturbing to me. See, and I'm saying this, I guess this is not for the casual listener. I'm saying this to the people that kind of understand what I'm saying. For many, 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 many years, that's been the oldest trick in the book, where we go somewhere and they tell us that we're not recouped, and we never actually have a way of knowing when we're recouped because they just fudge the money in all these different places. You just never know shit. So when they say that if they're not recouped, I would imagine none of them are recouped. If that article came out and niggas got $0, nobody's recouped. I don't understand how nobody on that label is recouped. But if I were an artist, the question I would be asking is, if we are making the music that provides the equity to the label, that the label then in turn sells to the techie people, why the fuck are why are the artists not trying to cut out the middleman? That's why I can't look at Lyor Cohen a certain way, because they all are cut from that. And a lot of your favorite fucking artists have voluntarily relinquished their rights and are perfectly fine only making tour and merchandising money. That would be a problem for me. I love this shit still. I'm real passionate about this shit still. So I would love if somehow before I kick the fucking bucket on earth, before I die, if all the artists could just have a conversation and get this shit together. I seen an Instagram post from Mr. Ruggs out in Atlanta, said, yo, niggas will come together and put money together for anything but a business. Turtle tops, tables at a club.
Turtle tops are nice though.
Drugs. Niggas will put their money together for anything in the fucking world. I don't understand why the artists or people who manage these artists or people who have a vested interest in these artists are not on the phone calling one another. Niggas are being robbed. Niggas are being robbed. This is not new information. I know y'all tired of me saying it, but every fucking movie that has to do with music, pick one. And niggas is getting robbed in it. Right?
True story.
5 Heartbeats. They robbing niggas. Straight out of Compton. They robbing niggas. Pick any biop. The TLC, Paul Abdul took all that shit. Go to the 50s. They robbed us. 60s. They robbed us. Paul 70s, Abdul. 80s, 90s.
Paul Abdul took money from TLC?
Yeah, it was the wrong name, but
It's Pebbles.
Pebbles,
Right?
Pebbles.
I'm about to say,
Pebbles.
Not Paul Abdul.
Paul Abdul somewhere like, wait, what?
Pebbles. I'm sorry. Not.
I
I
didn't see a
apologize.
dime. Like,
I confused them two because they were each other's competition.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pebbles, not Paul Abdul. What was I saying?
Just each era, people continue to get robbed instead of learning.
I'm
But
not
that's
saying
kind of-
anything
go ahead.
new is what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything new, but now what's happening is like the tech companies are here, y'all.
Right. I've been saying the artists should be fighting to get a piece of some of these tech companies, Apple being the main one, in my opinion.
The thing with the music business, it just reinvents itself every so couple years. So finally, when artists started figuring out how to do the label shit and they started doing their independent labels, they didn't need the majors, then streaming comes in. So now we have to have a new set of rules that we have to relearn.
The labels,
this has been tried though.
huh?
People have tried to make changes and help. Like
No,
Hov
I don't
with the
think
whole
anybody-
title situation. He was trying to give artists more money.
And I think
Put your music here. We're giving you more money. And
Yeah,
people
it's
ran
ran
from
by
that.
us.
But
Your
to
name-
get your music onto Tidal, you still need a label or distributor, typically. There's no direct contact to put your shit directly on. You still got to
I don't think you need a label.
You need
People are just signed to labels. I don't think you need a label to have your.
typically you still need some sort of middleman, even if it's just
Yeah, it's
TuneCore
not.
or
Tidal is
something,
not like
you know?
SoundCloud where niggas are just uploading. Like
Exactly.
they don't have special packages for like the independent creators. Again,
Right.
is what he's
Okay,
saying.
independent. Okay, I understand what you're saying, but my thing is,
But you naming Hove and
Well,
you
Hov
naming
said that-
Hove and Hove techie company. Yes, Hove can fight it. Hove has been fighting it. Hove with his company, that is his fight.
As much as he can.
Tidal-
Because like I said, you still have to go through a label.
Yeah.
So
but I disagree with you. I do not think. I think the artists have stood by long enough and have not put forth very much effort to try and do anything about this. In any other field where this type of discrepancy exists, they do something. I watched the fucking teachers walk out of school. I watched them.
true.
I watched the fucking bus drivers say, "Suck my dick."
yeah, but
They left. In any other field, there would be a stoppage of fucking work.
You're right.
If this type of money were being exchanged without the fucking artist getting a piece of it.
You're right.
Why is niggas still going on about the business of making music? What business? When all you niggas is broke. Y'all all broke. I don't want to hear about the jewelry. I don't want to hear about the chain spinning. I don't care about the videos, the entourages. I don't care about none of that. You niggas are broke and poor. And the labels are now the new mom and pop stores. The mom and pop stores that the labels fucking got rid of. Guess what? That's what the fuck they are. I would like to see them still stand in the next 5 years if you fucking artists wisen up. And I'm indie. Like, I'm sitting here passionate for niggas that's on labels.
Right.
Well, that's to the point what Dame was saying yesterday or last episode on the phone was there's no one teaching these artists. That's an issue. There's no hierarchy that's telling artists this, you're going to get jerked. Don't do that contract. Like, that's gone. And that's why he's so passionate about teaching the artists and fuck the labels.
The difficult thing about a strike too in our field is that there's so many people hungry and thirsty to get on that as soon as we strike, there will be
Yep.
another 500,000 people with their demos in your inbox that will be willing to get fucked in their ass.
Yeah. Because people are broke and they see an advance check and they take it without knowing the long run repercussions of doing that.
Right.
a lot of it is just misinformation and not just learn. A lot of artists don't take the time to really learn the business. They jump in it. They just happy to be known when they walk outside. They're happy to have a show somewhere and people know their music, but they don't know the business behind it. Like they look at it like
They should learn it.
Yeah, no, they should, but it's all about how do we go about that? Like, because we know what needs to happen. Now we need to know, okay, what are the steps we take to start making that happen? What are the programs we put in place? Is it like a program where we develop people from the industry come in and just give seminars? Because those are available.
They exist.
There are people
Yeah.
that give seminars. It's just that a lot of people don't go and check these things out.
There's collegiate degrees in music business that exist also.
Listen, if all the
Not everybody.
if all of the musicians got together, it affects
Everything.
Of course.
it affects the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm just all about now.
not
how
just
do
the
you-
music. It affects the fashion industry.
Yeah, but it's hard to get.
TV industry.
It's hard to get 5 people to do something together.
Well, no, that's where the dilemma lies.
You understand?
It's difficult to get a bunch of rich people with egos to do anything
Together.
They would all have to feel that there is a need. But when reports like that start going out that say we made 500 million, y'all got nothing. Wasn't it another report that came out that Billboard did or some shit that the music industry made
12%.
Yeah, 12% of I think
is
500 billion last year.
Yeah, that's miss. I mean, that's not.
And I mean,
that's
why,
not crazy to me.
why it's so important now is music business is back. There was a time when that shit was tanking. There was no money in music. Now with streaming,
That's the reason why
It's
that's
a new-
not crazy to me is because in every other industry, the highest profit. I ranted briefly on Twitter about this. The highest profit margin businesses in the world are like lawyers and accountants, which is like 18 or 19%. So 12%. It's not an exact definition of profit margin the way they broke that down, but it's a barometer of what the profit margin would be as an artist. 12%. Retail is like 7%. Restaurants are like 7-9%, somewhere in there. 12% is not a terrible profit margin. Is all I'm saying.
I watched all the retired NFL players get together and foul some shit. I watched the O'Bannon brothers in college from UCLA. That's old nigga shit, but I watched them get together and foul that suit against college as a whole. Why are artists not getting together and fouling
I think we should.
a class action suit?
I think we should.
yeah,
There was a lawsuit.
what
it's a
has
lot
to-
of creatives too. That's all. Not every creative
I
has
think
the
that's-
business mind.
That's the next step.
There was a lawsuit in the early or mid 80s when DATs and CDs were invented where the industry tried to sue to get basically a piece of every CD and DAT that was recorded.
The actual physical,
Because there was no
Yeah.
loss. Back
Yeah.
when it was tapes, there was a loss when you made copies.
Yep.
Digital, that doesn't exist anymore. They lost the suit, so essentially that kind of fucked everything over. I wish that someone would try to find a loophole within that lawsuit that they overlooked or something was... That's something that should be looked at because I think that artists and creatives should be getting a piece of all these massive fucking tech companies because we are what sells Netflix, Apple TV, all this shit.
They're selling equity that we are creating.
Correct.
They cannot create it without us.
And they're selling expensive fucking hardware with high profit margins because to sell, so people can watch the shit that we create.
It's like if I own Park Place and Boardwalk in Monopoly with hotels, and then I just fucking, every time somebody lands, I just give the money to the person sitting to my left or right.
Yeah.
It is the same exact thing. So for me, as I age in this hip hop thing, part of how I judge rappers and artists now is not only by their music, but what they did and how they maneuvered in the music business. Like now that I have so much information.
Right.
Yeah, this is important.
It's very important.
I'm gonna judge and look at you niggas some type of way if y'all just keep going on about your regularly scheduled lives and programs and this is not ever addressed. It would be alarming to me. I'll put it that way. Like when I got to Def Jam as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old nigga, I didn't know shit about shit. But when I heard rumblings that Kev and Leor might be leaving the building, it told me something might be wrong. It just told me something might be wrong. If I'm on that label and I hear that report, it says something might be wrong. Because newsflash, hey, let me tell you niggas something. You're not affecting Spotify. Spotify don't give a fuck.
Nope.
They don't give two fucks about that. Who is being affected here? I would really do some real deep soul searching if I were an artist on not only that label, but quite a few of these other labels. They playing real big chess with money that's ours because we allow it. That was my argument, though, in the Leor shit back then. Not to backtrack, but my argument was there's a list of them. Leor, L.A., Sylvia, any exec. They all got nasty exec shit on them. Right. But that's the music business. So if you are voluntarily...
But I think what Dane was saying is only hip-hop that Leo does this with. That's where I think Dane's
but my
culture
response to
vulture
that
was
would be
coming
I could easily make the case that there's a lot of white people that don't fuck with Leor because of how black people fuck with him. I can. Black people fuck with Leor.
from. But Leo doesn't even listen to hip-hop, though.
Yes, he does.
Joe doesn't listen to hip hop.
Joe listens to hip-hop.
Leor listens like I listen.
I don't think he does.
He does. Listen. This is my point. I've heard executives out of their mouth tell me, "I don't give a fuck about rap," but be working rap.
Right.
Like, I have such a disdain for L.A. Reid because I've heard him say that out of his mouth. So when I listen to hip hop, especially hip hop that Epic likes, I can hear a nigga that don't really care about rap. You care about R&B, and your rappers are kind of, that's dope. But I mean, you just not a place in rap, so you shouldn't be telling Method Man was hot. For him is all. That's not the case with Leor, but this is not a Leor thing because I'm not getting back on that shit. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, you're not affecting Spotify.
They don't care.
You're not affecting Apple.
They got to pay out anyway.
You're probably not affecting YouTube. Like, and Chan's gonna tell us Apple gave him $500,000. I don't give a fuck. $500,000 for the coloring book. What did you get on the back? Where's the equity? Y'all want to start having real conversations? I know you went in your studio and it took you this amount of time to come up with this amount of project, and $500,000 is indeed a lot of money for niggas like us.
Right. But what did that
Not
hurt?
to Apple.
Or that shit is light.
To own that, anytime someone click coloring book, I don't have to pay the artist. Yeah, here's $500,000.
Right.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Listen, in the next few weeks, next week in particular, but in the next few weeks, people that listen to this podcast, we're going to be talking about a few things. We got some announcements to make, and we're going to be talking about a few things. One of those things for me is why all podcasters have their shit on the podcast portion of Apple. I've talked about that on our live podcast, but yeah, why? They're not paying us. They're not giving us information.
Right.
So it's there for what? Now I need to really get in my bag of what I agreed to when I click the terms and services thing that none of us read. That's another thing. We don't read that shit. We just we on Twitter, my nigga.
Right.
We on there. We on our fucking phones giving up our rights.
Yeah.
So all of these fucking creators are just creating from scratch hours and hours of shit and giving it to Apple for what?
Not for nothing. I don't know.
And it's streamed.
There should be some sort of law that
And
the
it's streamed.
terms and agreement should be not in legalese.
Those are streams.
Yeah. That
Don't
app is a stream.
don't let this fucking verbiage confuse you, people. These are streams. They're all streams. And like we've been talking about in this podcast for a little while, I got to focus on this streaming thing, baby, because I don't know what the evolution is from here. This might be it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they stepping on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Free. As far as
Very lucrative,
as far as manufacturing and distribution.
Eric Sermon just did a whole piece talking about, what did he say? 1 million streams equals $8,000.
Somewhere in that range, I think.
I don't think it's that much.
I thought it was generous.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little generous. But I'm just saying, when you really dig into the crux of some of these terminologies that are out there, you know, they're fudging the money differently now, is what I'm saying. And as artists, we have to be concerned with a little bit more. And I'm not trying to be depressing.
So for the creators that listen to the show and that follow, right? So how do we go about teaching them how to house their creativity, where to put it, where to place it, where they're not robbed and they're not being taken advantage of?
Maul, that's a great question. And it's a loaded question which deserves a loaded answer. But the answer probably starts at a topic that we talk about here all the time. When you're a new act and you have your Fetty Wap My Way record, and then Drake comes and says, hey, here's a verse. What do you do? Like, that's really where the start of that answer lie.
Right.
Because let me tell you, speaking from my own experience, and we'll delve into this next week when we start announcing some shit. But speaking from my own experience, I've gotten a lot of information that I have today, and I've gotten probably as far as I've gotten today just by saying no to things. Like, I learned a long time ago, no gets me so much information. What's that fucking Drake line? Half the time I got it right, I probably guessed. No, I wasn't guessing. I was just saying no, standing on integrity, and I learned some shit and took that information and went forward. A creator has to be confident in his ability to create.
Yeah, first and foremost.
It starts there. If you're not, you're getting robbed.
Yeah.
If you're not, you don't believe. You can't even create without belief. You can't even create without hope. You have to stand firm in the ability to say, no, I'm going to do this my way. Like we big up Bryson Tiller all the time for doing things his way and not taking that deal, right? Because things worked out for him doing it his way. I always big up the creators that take a risk and are rewarded for it. So I would start there. We can address that, like we said, in the coming weeks when we really
that's just
start
something
delving
just to,
into this stuff.
Think about,
But yeah, scary times out there. All of this shit that we talking about for rappers and the entertainers in the industry, it applies to you podcasting people too, and you people that are just creating on your own. They're trying to flip the fucking creative rules on us in front of our fucking faces.
Yeah.
You fucking right I'm going to sit with Leor.
Right.
You fucking right I'm calling everybody I can call. This ain't the time to be isolated.
You're right. And thank you. Thank you. As a creator.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, somebody's got to try to give a fuck about this shit.
Right.
Who knew that Joe Budden would be?
Yeah.
That's a trash hero. I ain't gonna lie. I can't be the nigga to save any of this
No.
shit.
That sentence don't even sound right.
Yeah, we gonna put Puff. If it works, if the plan works, we gonna put Puff name and Hove. All the niggas. All right, damn it.
You gotta go left.
Oh, oops.